This is Medalta Potteries Ltd, and this is Hycroft China Ltd. Each are part of Medicine Hat's historic clay district. These two facilities are steeped with history, both built in the early 1900s with production ceasing at the Medalta site in the 60s and Hycroft in the late 90s. It was difficult, often back-breaking work for the men and women who worked there. But many who have spent time at these sites in recent years have seen things, heard things that no one can seem to explain. Is it possible that some of those individuals who labored here much of their lives still roam the halls of Medicine Hat's historic clay district?
The Medalta Potteries factory was built in 1912. The working conditions here were very harsh. The employees did not get paid a great deal, but it put Medicine Hat on the map in terms of industrial production. Medalta Potteries is an important part of Alberta's industrial history, and it has lots of interesting stories. Hycroft China was first built in 1938. It employed a great number of Medicine Hatters and produced a great deal of very collectible pottery. The Hycroft China factory also has a great deal of interesting stories. Many people spent their careers working there and have a lot of history wrapped up in that place.
Since reclamation of the two sites began in the mid-90s, many of those who have witnessed strange activity at Medalta and Hycroft have been employees of the clay district.
I'm Mike Beaton, and I was a volunteer coordinator here at Medalta. I saw a ghost while I was working here. The night that I saw the operation, there was a large group of people here for a major funding announcement that Medalta had gotten some money. And they were starting to gather the people up towards in front of the stage because that's where the announcement was going to take place. And as a result, I was looking around the room to see if everybody had moved that way. And down at this end of the room, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a window there. And basically from the window across the end of the room is where I saw my person walk. And a workman-type person in dusty clothes, that if you're covered in dust or dirt from working in the potteries, just walked across the end of the room. My first thought was, how did he get here? He should be with everybody else. So I wandered down to get him, but there was no one here, and there's no way out unless they came by me.
My name is Darcy Howells. I'm site superintendent for Medalta Potteries. Well, I was over here one day and I noticed there was a screen off the window. The screen was loose. I put a screw down here. I had my other screw sitting here, and I was going to put another screw in the drill. So just when I was putting the screw in this drill, this piece of whatever it was, I think it was a piece of glass, it came flying like straight out. I have no idea how it could do that, because I was the only one here and the place was locked up. I got a little creepy feeling, so I stuck my wrist by 2 screws in there and it got out of here.
Stories like this are not uncommon amongst current and former employees, but no one had ever seriously looked into what might be going on. That is until Medicine Hat Paranormal Investigations caught wind of it. MHPI is a local team dedicated to explaining the unexplained and provide answers to people who claim to have had ghostly run-ins or perhaps just think they have. The team is made up of Chick, who heads up research, Scott and Jackie, who handle all electronic surveillance during an investigation. This includes motion detectors, digital audio recorders, 4 night vision surveillance cameras, which are recorded and viewed live on site, as well as electromagnetic sensors, digital thermometers, and a handheld night vision camera. Kevin serves as a computer tech, but also seems to be sensitive to spiritual activity, much in the same way Vera Lynn is. Vera Lynn is the team lead. She has been honing her skills as a spiritual medium her entire life. She will often sense and relay historical information and even names tied to a site, which can then be investigated in the research phase. Vera Lynn initially contacted Ron Mason with an unrelated historical inquiry. But when she visited the site, she claimed to sense a great deal of spiritual energy. Ron then informed her of employees claiming to have witnessed strange activity. Ron is an admitted skeptic, but was very interested in getting some answers to all the ghost stories haunting the Clay District's history.
I thought it was a neat opportunity for us to at least find out if there was any real evidence.
But before MHPI starts their investigation, they first must meet with Ron for a full tour of the properties. While Vera Lynn and Scott walk with Ron, they're recording the entire tour with their digital audio recorder. While the tour was relatively uneventful, the playback of the audio recording turned up what seems to be some eerie results. During this segment of the tour, while chatting in the Hycroft building, something unidentified is heard.
Yeah, great lake.
Yeah, Marty's our first artist.
Something that sounds like heavy breathing.
Yeah, great lake.
Yeah, Marty's our first artist. And she takes care of.
This is where we got the clip that someone was breathing in this area. We didn't hear it until we got back and reviewed the audio.
Then, while Vera Lynn leaves an old storage room in Hycroft, there is this.
Yeah, there's definitely feeling here.
What seems like an unidentified laugh.
I didn't hear it at the time, but when we went back over the audio evidence, the laughter had been shown. So we went back to the techs, and they analyzed all the different voices of anybody that was present, and there was nothing. It was a completely different voice.
And while they walk through the old Hycroft production area, what seems to be the strangest of all, in a building with little heating and barely any running water on a minus 20-degree day, it sounds as though they're walking through a foot of water. And not only that, it sounds as though the machinery is running.
There was no machinery running. The roof leaks quite badly, but we weren't walking through any water. Had it been that audible while we were walking through, I would have probably noticed it, but I certainly didn't notice it while we were walking through.
When we return, witness the full investigation of Hycroft China and Medalta Potteries.
I felt a lot of activity there. That light shouldn't be on there. I felt somebody, like someone died up there.
It is now time for Medicine Hat Paranormal Investigations to start their full investigation of the Hycroft China building. With some credible eyewitness accounts and the audio recordings from the pre-investigation, the team is optimistic about finding further evidence of possible paranormal activity. First, Scott and Jackie direct the setup of all surveillance equipment. With the help of 5 night vision cameras, motion detectors, digital audio recorders, cameras, and thermometers, the team will attempt to monitor all activity in the old factory. They also set up a home base where the closed-circuit cameras will be monitored.
So we'll get the camera 3 up and running. We'll clean up a bit, and then I think we're good to go.
Ron will also be accompanying the team, acting both as a guide and providing the team with historical information along the way. They first set out into the Hycroft's large production area, which was once a hub of activity.
I want the light cut.
And it's not long before their closed-circuit cameras pick up something of interest. An anomalous light or orb enters the frame on camera 3, then changes direction and seems to follow the photographer as she leaves frame. Here it is again, enhanced and in slow motion. Being that the team did not notice this immediately, they continued toward the mold room, where clay molds were once manufactured. This is the room which Darcy, one of our witnesses, said a piece of glass came flying out while he was changing a window screen. But before they even get there, they noticed something very out of place.
Why is the light on?
I don't know.
That light shouldn't be on there. It wasn't even on there when we came in the other day. Has anybody been back there since?
No, I don't know why.
Okay, well, let's go through, okay? There shouldn't be lights on here at all. Like, there shouldn't even be turned on. There shouldn't be.
The curious thing to me is that we looked down here, we saw the light, and then turned off the lights back there, and then didn't see it.
I know.
That's why something fishy is going on.
With 2 strange occurrences already, they continue to the mold room, a point of high interest for the team.
If there's anyone here, please just give us a sign. When I first walked back in there, it's cold, like we are all here, it's cold. And then in the middle of the room where there was a stove, I got a really warm feeling and felt there was a presence of a woman. And she was working there. And she's scared. I got the fear, I don't know if it's because we've all walked in there.
Then the analysis of one of the pictures taken in the room finds this, what appears to be a face-like image on the wall. It appears in multiple pictures taken, as well as this piece of video. Whatever it is, it did not turn up in the subsequent photographs taken after that night.
Well, that very back room, the workers were more or less away from everybody else, sort of back in the back corner of the factory, and they were working very hard. That it wouldn't have been a very nice spot to work.
When we were back in that room with the light, when the light was turned on, while I got the name, came to me of Florence or Flo, like that. I'm not sure. We'll have to check that later.
Next, the team explores the large production area, which was once a very busy place. Kevin senses that it may still be.
It's almost like felt like somebody was peeking through this area right here, watching us down over there. And it just really feels like there's somebody standing right here.
And Ron gives us a little background on the area.
The noise and the heat and the dust that would have been generated back here would have been really, really difficult to handle. It just would not have been a very nice place to be.
Back at home base, Scott's picking up something on the surveillance cameras.
Well, I'm at the command center here, and at 2333, camera 1 in the far room behind you there had just flickered. I checked all the wires, everything's hooked up, and we're getting a lot of activity in that back room.
I just feel like all around me it's just sadness. I feel that this was a part of their lives, that they lived every day and it just suddenly ended, and I think it really hurt a lot of people. And I believe the ones that have passed on might have come back here.
Whatever may cause the sadness Vera Lynn senses, the working conditions could not have helped. This used to be the clay manufacturing area.
This would have been a very unhealthy area to work. The silica dust that came from the clay, from the glaze material, they would have breathed it in, and a lot of people who worked in the clay factories would often have health problems later on in life, silicosis and things like that, which would, well, later in life it was a problem.
One of the final areas to investigate is the storage room where Vera Lynn recorded laughter during the pre-investigation. Kevin and Vera Lynn shut themselves in the room in an attempt to communicate with what they think may be a restless spirit. But 20 minutes and hours of video footage later, the room turns up no signs of paranormal activity.